So today we're sitting here with Joe and Lindy Wisdom, two very special friends of mine. Lindy told me, I don't know, about a year ago that you might be selling and moving to Prescott, and I got kind of sad because she's one of my dearest friends, lunch buddies, all of that. And she told me that they had a nephew that was a realtor, and Joe was leaning towards using him. But she was going to try and work her magic to see if she could get me in on the transaction. And she got me a conversation. And I'll never forget, Joe, sitting down at your kitchen table, and you're like, I don't like doing business with friends and family. And I'm like, I understand. And you said, if I remember right, you might not even like me after this because I can be kind of hard on people. I will tell you that this is one of those transactions that didn't just go off easy, simple.
It looked like it was going to be a piece of cake.
Yes, because the reason for that is because they are the original owners of a home in Warner Ranch, lived there for 36 years, and you guys took impeccable care of your home. You paid attention to detail. It was clean. I mean, you had like 10-year-old appliances that looked brand new. And Joe, I know you worked like a dog before you moved up here to Prescott to get it in amazing shape before I even got there. Mm-hmm. So, it showed. But then, and we put it on the market. We put it in coming soon status. And we get 2 offers within 24 hours because everybody saw what impeccable care you had given your home.
Plus, it was a neighborhood that was in demand. It has always stayed in demand as long as we've owned the house. And we've taken such good care of it and done improvements and all those things that it would be a piece of cake. And when 2 offers came in before the sign went up, we were double confident.
Yeah.
Yes. All of that.
Right. And then, so our first offer was $25,000 over list price. And, I had agents wanting to write offers, and I'm like, don't be bringing me any offers that are lowballed. We're not going to entertain anything like that, at least in the beginning. And so the first offer came in at $25,000 over, which I felt was a home run. And then we had our first inspection. And my gosh, you even walked around the home to the buyers, shared all the things you did, all the details. And we got the inspection back, and they get paranoid and panicked over the structure. So they brought in a structural engineer and this and that, and they finally ended up just canceling.
Evie called to give us the bad news that the people had canceled. She followed up that she already had a new contract in motion. So it was a bad news, good news thing, and I was blown away both times by the fact that, and it's just smart business that you had obviously documented the other people that were interested, and so that you had a plan B and wind up with a plan C before you even came to us and told us what had happened. And I was super impressed with that.
Thank you.
And then, yes, that first inspection, I was shocked. I thought I knew everything that was possibly wrong with the house, having lived in it. And I had already addressed what I thought were all the issues that would impede the sale. And boy, was I wrong. The inspection was brutal. Went on for, seemed like days. 30-something pages, I think. And then subsequent, we had 2 more inspections, and I think they were even longer. And we just kept, it got confusing after a while, who we were fixing what for.
The first inspection they walked away because of the structure. They didn't like the drywall, pretty much is how I look at it. They walked away. So, okay, now we have this, but unfortunately in real estate, whatever we have to disclose, right? I can't move on to another contract without saying, well, this is what has already presented. We had 2 offers to begin with. The first one went away, so I called that second offer that had come in. And then I also called someone who was really disappointed that we had an offer because they wanted to write an offer the second time, and they did, and they actually wrote it for more. But Joe, being a man of integrity and good heart, he's like, I really love that. Like, he connected with that offer. He said, I like the fact that the second offer that was back up came back and still wanted it. So even though it's less, we're going to go ahead and go with that one. So then I got to make a phone call. I got to make 2 phone calls, one that was elated and one that was super disappointed, because the third offer also had someone who needed to live in the area and had been looking for 2 years. So they had disappointment. They thought they were going to be the winning offer because they were more. And I would have thought that too, but you and I had a really good conversation about it, and we went with the other one. So then we get to the inspection, and there was a potential mold problem. And we were all just kind of blown away.
Shocked.
Not expecting it. And to their defense, the mold was obviously somewhere that wasn't seen. So this was something that an inspection came about. They called me to tell me that they were going to back out. And I was like, well, wait a minute, give us an opportunity at least to fix it, take care of it, and please you. But that buyer was like, no, I just don't want to deal with it, even though that was a home, like her forever home.
So Evie jumped on it again and contacted the twice disappointed.
So then I contacted the one that had the higher offer, and now I have to disclose, well, here's our structural engineer, that there's some
The first
potential.
people think the roof is falling in. The second person thinks that's mold all over the place. Are you still interested?
Yeah.
And they said yes.
That's pretty much what I said. Well, we've had some inspections that haven't gone so well, but this is it. But what I can tell you is we have amazing sellers, and they will make right whatever they have to make right. They stayed at $5,000 over. He said,
Offer
no,
number 2.
we will go down to the 475. And they're like, no, we're sticking at the 480. And we were like, well, okay, sounds great, right? We had, let's see, roofer, electrician, AC, handyman, and mold. 5 different trades in. Joe and Lindy had moved to Prescott, so there was a lot of coordinating that had to be done, which 18 years in the business, being in my B&I chapter, who I love those guys and I trust them, I knew who to call, where to go. And I'll just tell you, and this is where I get kind of choked up. This whole thing could have gone a totally different way. We were actually dealing with a great agent who, I got her on the phone with the AC guy, and this is what she said to me and him. These sellers and Evie have been upfront, honest, good integrity, bent over backwards, done everything they could to please us. And we trust whatever you have to say. So if all that needs done is that piece of insulation secured, we trust and we believe, and we're good with that. Do not worry about doing that. So number one, a moral of the story is do the right thing, act with good integrity, and it's going to cost you a little bit, but not as much as it could. Again, I can't tell you, in my position as representing you, you could have been mean, ugly, unwilling. You could have been like, we have to sell this house in order to buy another house. That wasn't the case. You could have had no money, which so many buyers and sellers have, is no money. So this could have killed a lot of things for the two of you, but you kept your cool. I didn't even talk to Lindy because she's like, Joe does everything. And so Joe and I felt like I really developed a really great relationship with you. And the fact that you just trusted me and let me figure it out, you made it easy to do my job. And as hard as it was so much easier because of you. And I'm so grateful to you for that, Joe.
Well, thank you. It became obvious very early on that I didn't have a clue what was going on. This house that I thought I knew every in and out was, so it became I needed to step away and let Evie do what Evie does. We were basically absentee owners from very early on in this process. And I thought, and then that could have turned around and bitten us, because I was not in a position to go to the house every day to let people come in. Evie picked up that slack. And it wasn't, there was no hesitation. There was just, I'll take care of it. Let me do what I do. And she knew the people to call. Some of the people that I've been dealing with for years basically let me down, but Evie's people stepped up, made the repairs, took care of Evie. And because of the way she is and her reputation, and look, this thing it came together, and it was all Evie. And I'm just so thankful that you
We're
took
available.
this on and did what you did. I was absentee, and I had a phone conversation with Conrad, and which was a very, very positive conversation. He was looking for solutions for us, I think, instead of just trying to make some money.
Absolutely.
Warren, you spent.
Oh, Warren,
you
I had.
met Warren.
I didn't
early.
really have a handyman, so early on I asked Evie who her handyman was, and I started using him well before we ever signed a contract.
Yes.
And
awesome.
he came
He's
in
awesome.
and took, he probably came by 3 times and to take on some of the things I knew needed fixing before I could, in good conscience, even list the house.
If he only knew.
And he was super.
And Warren was super and reasonable with his prices and went above and beyond a number of times for us. And so the people I actually had contact with were super.
If you ever want to do anything, always reach out to me first, because I have great people. And you guys are just here telling me.
You did. You bet. It was great. It was great.
I love that.
Really came across some buyers with integrity, courage, and another real estate agent that wanted to see the deal through instead of wanting to find reasons to cancel.
Well, but you can certainly see where relationships come into this, because if you, as you say, you act with integrity, you do what you say you're going to do, you step up, and you do it over and over and over again, and pretty soon everybody knows that you're the person who does it that way. And then you get the person on the other side who seems to act the same way, and it pays back. That's the way to do it.
Well, I'm very thankful to have Evie.
I'm thankful to have you too, Joe. I love you.
We're almost done.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah, and just to add, you just never know what's going on in people's lives. And sometimes in life, me, go through a little bit of a rough patch. And it could be professionally, personally, or whatever. And I'll just be honest with y'all, I have. And you guys trusted someone who was a little, when I first sat down with you that first time, I was
A little distracted.
I was distracted. I was scared. I was, even though I knew what I was doing and I knew how to do it, you really helped me by taking a chance with me. You did me a lot of good. And you did me a lot of good because you got me out of my little shell that I had fallen in due to things that sometimes go on in your personal life. So I am grateful.
We gave you a really challenging problem.
Well, it's okay
And,
because
oh my goodness.
it showed me that I still got it.
You got it. You
Well,
got it.
if you needed a distraction, we gave you one. Yeah.
It was a toughie, and we thought it wasn't.
It's going to be a piece
Very
of cake,
interesting.
and it was anything but.
Yeah, no. It was not a piece of cake. It was a bag of worms with frosting on top.
Yeah.
Well, like I tell people, it's like one of those things on this, and this is why we get home inspections, is because it might look, I think some of us call it lipstick on a pig, and that's not what this was by any means. That's not what I'm saying. But sometimes, you did all the things right. You new roof, new AC, some new doors. You took care of it. You maintained it. You maintained everything.
We had records.
You
Joe.
have
records.
a box full of records
Everything.
this big. Yet the things that were wrong were all behind the walls, and you just couldn't
And
see
had
it.
never
And had
caused
you
us
known
a
it was
problem.
there,
Yes.
you would have addressed it.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
it just, it just happens. But anyway, here we are today up in Prescott. We signed your closing documents. It's Thursday. Our closing date is Tuesday. And let me tell you, I cannot wait to pick up the phone and call you and say, we have recorded. We're done. Yay.
There will be champagne
Yeah.
on
And-
Tuesday.
And I just want to give a shout out. The agent on the other side of it, her name is Natalie Maloney, and she is a licensed appraiser also, and she's just started recently in real estate. I think she said within the last 4 to 5 years. But Natalie, you were amazing, and I would work with you time and time again. And that's what I like. I love my business that when we all work together, and that's what it's all about. You get more accomplished working together than fighting. And this was a true testament of that.
I would like to say two things. One realtor that I know would have been basically absentee and not happy about having to deal with a problem. That wouldn't have gone well. Another one I know would have been almost as clueless as we were about how to fix anything.
You'd have to live in a cave somewhere and not be able to come up with at least 4 friends, associates, or relatives that are in real estate. And real estate agents love to list houses because if that house sells, they're going to make some money. If they're representing buyers, the buyers may or may not buy a house with them. So everybody wants to list. That's my feeling about real estate. And I would dare say there's a certain percentage out there that after they list the house, that's going to be the last thing they do, other than show up for a signing someday. And that wasn't the case with Evie. Evie had to work very, very hard. And had we had somebody who really only wanted to list the house and not do anything, it would have been a disaster.
And her experience
And
shows.
the experience that she brings to the table with, and I think you said this was your first house with mold.
Yes, it was.
No, you have experience with mold.
So
Yay me.
I'd like to take credit.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Well, and I'll tell you what, if I was going to have a first house with mold, these are the people I wanted to have it with.
So Evie can add one more thing to her list of
Yes,
accomplishments.
she has dealt with mold
18
reparations.
years.
Yep.
And now, by golly, the next time she comes across mold, she's got an action plan. So I couldn't imagine going through this with somebody else. And I was just in awe the way you just jumped in there and took charge. That was very impressive.
Thank you, John Lindy, for the honor. Thank you for sitting here and doing this with me, and just chatting means a lot to me. And there's only one thing left. Evie Brown,
Real estate,
Real estate
from the
from
heart.
the heart.